There is a building material that does not burn. It does not rot. It does not let mold grow. Pests cannot eat through it. And the longer it stands, the stronger it gets, turning over decades into literal stone. It breathes like living wood, regulating temperature and humidity without any mechanical system. A wall of it costs a family almost nothing to heat or cool. And the core ingredient can be grown from seed in just 120 days. Then, in 1937, the United States government made it a crime to grow the plant it comes from. Not because it failed, because 3 powerful men decided it threatened their fortunes. This is the story of Hempcrete, the criminalized building material that could have given every American family a home that is fireproof, indestructible, and completely free from corporate dependence, and the names of the men who made sure that never happened. Welcome to Nature's Lost Vault. The archive opens in France, not in the 1980s when modern architects rediscovered this material. The archive opens in the 6th century AD, 500 years after the fall of Rome, along the Sarthe River. Here, engineers of the Merovingian kingdom constructed bridge abutments from a mortar made of hemp fibers and lime. Those bridges are gone, but the hemp-lime foundations they rested on remain. Archaeologists found them completely intact 1,400 years later. Across the world in India, inside the carved Buddhist caves of Ellora, the plaster lining the walls has protected intricate carvings from monsoon humidity for over 15 centuries. When scientists analyzed it in 2016, they found pounded hemp. The caves flood during the rainy season, yet the plaster has not crumbled, not molded, not failed. The formula is almost absurdly simple. Take the woody inner core of a hemp plant, called the hurd, the part that rope makers historically threw away as waste. Mix it with lime and water, pack it into wall forms around a timber frame, and wait. What happens next is alchemy. The lime reacts with carbon dioxide in the air through a process called carbonation. Over days, weeks, and years, sometimes 12 years, the lime slowly reverts to calcium carbonate. It turns back into stone. The hemp fibers become encased in a mineral matrix. The wall literally petrifies, becoming harder and more resilient every single year it stands. Because of the high silica content in the hemp fibers, fire cannot take hold. When flames touch hempcrete, the lime binder forms a charred layer that extinguishes itself. In standardized tests conducted to the ASTM E119 fire resistance standard, hempcrete walls have withstood temperatures exceeding 1,700 degrees Fahrenheit for over an hour without significant heat transfer, earning the highest Class A fire rating in the building industry without a single chemical additive. The high pH of the lime binder, around 12, makes it biologically impossible for mold to establish. Mold requires a pH of 4.5 or lower to survive. The wall kills the chemistry before it begins, and the material breathes, absorbing excess humidity and releasing it slowly. So condensation never builds inside the wall cavity. The very thing that rots a conventional house, trapped moisture behind drywall, cannot happen. There is no trap. Moisture moves through. Termites, carpenter ants, and boring beetles cannot eat it. There is no organic material their biology can process. The wall starves them. This is what Americans were legally kept from building. In 1619, the colonial government of Jamestown issued a mandate. Every farmer in the colony was legally required to grow hemp. The plant was so essential to survival that it functioned as legal tender. You could pay your taxes with it. George Washington grew it at all 5 farms of Mount Vernon, recording the crop 90 times in his personal diaries. Thomas Jefferson considered it so valuable that when he designed an improved hemp processing tool, he refused to patent it. He wanted every farmer to have it for free. The American Navy was built on hemp. The sails and rigging of every warship required thousands of pounds of it. And inside those hemp stalks, in the woody herd that was stripped away and discarded during fiber processing, was the raw material for hempcrete. Every ton of hemp fiber processed left behind a mountain of herds, the exact material needed to build indestructible walls. But colonial builders did not know what the Merovingian engineers had known. That knowledge had not crossed the ocean, and what happened next ensured it never would. In the mid-1930s, everything was about to change. An inventor named G.W. Schlichten had developed the decorticator, a machine capable of separating hemp fiber from its herd at industrial speed, at a cost of half a cent per pound. American hemp could suddenly compete with anything on Earth. In the spring of 1937, the editors of Popular Mechanics prepared an article calling hemp the new billion-dollar crop, predicting it would become America's most important agricultural resource. The article ran in February 1938. 6 months later, it was already too late. 3 men had decided this could not be allowed to happen. William Randolph Hearst was the most powerful newspaper publisher in America. He was also the owner of vast timber holdings across the continent, and his paper mills ran on wood pulp. Hemp could produce 4 times more paper per acre than trees. If hemp became the industry standard, Hearst's forests and his mills would become worthless overnight. The DuPont family had just patented nylon in 1935. They were developing a massive suite of synthetic petrochemical products, plastics, synthetic textiles, chemical solvents to replace natural materials across every industry. Hemp competed directly with nylon for rope and textiles. The newly efficient hemp herd competed with DuPont's chemical wood pulp process for paper. Hemp grew from the dirt for free. DuPont's chemicals had to be purchased year after year from DuPont. Andrew Mellon was the Secretary of the Treasury, the wealthiest man in America, and the chief banker to the DuPont empire. In 1931, he had appointed his future nephew-in-law, a former prohibition enforcer named Harry Anslinger, to lead the newly formed Federal Bureau of Narcotics. Anslinger needed a mission. Mellon gave him one. What followed was a masterclass in corporate propaganda. Hearst's newspapers ran a sustained campaign, equating the industrial hemp plant with marijuana, printing fabricated stories of violence and moral collapse. The word marijuana, then unfamiliar slang, was deliberately weaponized in the headlines because most Americans did not know it referred to the exact plant their farmers had been growing legally for 3 centuries. When the Marijuana Tax Act came before Congress in 1937, the hearings lasted only a matter of hours. Anslinger testified by reading Hearst's newspaper stories aloud into the congressional record as if they were government findings. The American Medical Association opposed the bill. A representative from the hemp industry begged to testify. Neither was given adequate time. The act passed. It did not ban hemp outright. It required a tax stamp to grow it, but the stamps were nearly impossible to obtain. To get a stamp, you had to already be growing hemp. To grow hemp, you needed a stamp. That impossible catch was intentional. The American hemp industry was dead within years. And look at what we build with instead. Today, the average American home is built from chemically treated pine studs, a wood frame so flammable that a house fire can consume the entire structure in under 10 minutes. The walls are filled with fiberglass insulation that compresses over time, loses its thermal value, and causes respiratory damage. The interior is sealed with drywall, gypsum panels that, in a fire, release hydrogen sulfide and sulfur dioxide into the air your family is breathing. Termites eat the frame. Mold grows inside the wall cavities. Every material in that wall, insulation, sheathing, vapor barrier, must be purchased from industrial manufacturers on a 30 to 50-year replacement cycle. The house you build is a subscription. You pay for it forever. Hempcrete requires no replacement. It has no cycle. A home built correctly from hemp and lime does not degrade, it hardens. And it is entirely carbon negative, locking away an estimated 325 kilograms of carbon per cubic meter for the entire life of the building. The Merovingian bridge foundations lasted 14 centuries. The Buddhist cave plaster has lasted 15 centuries. While the United States criminalized the plant, Europe never stopped building with it. France has constructed hempcrete homes since the early 1990s. In Belgium, a manufacturer called IsoHemp now produces more than 1 million hempcrete blocks annually. In England, contractors who work with it cannot understand why we pour toxic chemicals into conventional houses when a lightweight material that smells of the earth outperforms them all. In December 2018, President Trump signed the Agriculture Improvement Act into law. Industrial hemp was legal at the federal level for the first time since 1937. The plant that Jamestown farmers were legally required to grow, the plant Washington tracked in 90 diary entries, was finally legal again. In 2022, the International Code Council added hempcrete to its official building codes, giving American architects a legal framework to use it for the first time. 85 years late. After the 2025 wildfires tore through Los Angeles, architects and engineers began recommending hempcrete construction for the rebuild zones. Homes that fire cannot consume in wildfire country. The people who lost everything to flames were being offered walls that withstand 1,700 degrees. 3 men erased it. A continent remembered it. And the material itself never stopped doing what it has always done. It waited, it got harder, and it outlasted. The wall that cannot burn, cannot rot, cannot be eaten, and cannot be owned by a chemical monopoly is coming back. It hardens with every passing year into something stronger than the forces that tried to erase it. It never needed permission to survive. It just needed time. If this vault opened something for you, subscribe to Nature's Lost Vault and hit the bell. Every like and every share preserves what they tried to erase. The next vault opens soon.